Once you've finished all your blocks in your wrap, I recommend putting on an applied I-cord edge just to finish everything off and hold everything together. I think it looks nice. To work the applied I-cord edge, I cast on 5 stitches. You could do 4, you could do 6, but I found that 5 gave me a nice rounded edge that wasn't too large, kind of fit with the rest of the proportions. You knit the first 4 stitches. Flip the next stitch purlwise. Bring the yarn to the front and around and a yarn over. You pick up the next stitch along the edge from front to back, and this is one of the either the cast on or bound off edges, so I'm going to slip my needle under those 2 loops and knit into this stitch. At this point you have 7 stitches on your needle. You've got the first 4 that you knit, the one you slipped, the yarn over, and the picked up stitch. You draw the yarn over and the slip stitch up and over that last stitch to return to 5 stitches for the I-cord. And at that point you've completed 1 row of the I-cord and you're ready to start over again. So you keep your yarn to the back, you push the needles kind of like a typewriter to the other side to work another right side row, and you knit the first 4 stitches. Slip the next stitch, yarn over, pick up stitch, draw those 2 stitches up and over, and you have another row. When working applied I-cord, you may have to experiment a little bit with the gauge of your applied I-cord. You're working in stockinette for the I-cord instead of garter stitch, and you're also working in a different direction than most of these stitches are going. But you want to make sure that your I-cord isn't too tight, because then it will pull in and pucker your fabric, and it's not too loose, because then it'll make your edge sort of splay out. You want it to have some give so that your shawl won't be rigid, but not too much space. So I found that I could work 1 applied I-cord row for every picked up or cast on or bound off stitch along these rectangular blocks. For the parallelogram box, where you have a slip stitch along the side, I worked 3 rows of applied I-cord for every 2 slip stitches. So that meant that I worked 1 row of applied I-cord in the first slip stitch, then I worked 2 into the second slip stitch, where you just work into that stitch again for the second time, and then 1 into the third, 2 into the fourth, etc. That gave me about 1.5 times the number of applied I-cord rows as there are slip stitches, and I found that gave me a nice edge, a little stretchy. To turn the corners, I worked 2 rows of applied I-cord into these angled corners here along the long edges of the shawl. So I worked into the tip of this corner twice to give it a little extra space to turn that corner nicely, and again on these corners as well. On the 90-degree angles at the short edge of the shawl, I worked 3 times into the tip of this corner in order to turn that corner with enough space. along the short edge of the shawl, you have slip stitches along the rectangular blocks, bound off stitches along here. So for here, I worked, I think, 4 applied I-colored rows to every 3 slip stitches. I found that if I did the same as along this, it was too stretchy. But I found that working 4 rows for every 3 slip stitches gave me a nice edge. And then here you have the bound off stitches. So again, I did 1 for 1.